Hello, my wonderful viewers, and welcome to another episode of Betty Adams Overanalyzes. Today we're going to take a look at science fiction, and kaiju number 8, none of which should be surprising. So, in the latest chapters of kaiju number 8, we discovered what many of us have suspected, that kaiju number 9 is a cordyceps-type fungus kaiju. Now, this is really amazing, and the creators clearly did their research for both the art and the science behind it, because this is just fascinating when you look at the background details on these panels. So, what is a cordyceps fungus? So, you may have heard of the video game series The Last of Us. And I believe in that one, the zombies were cordyceps fungus zombies. They took something real in the wild. Yes, there really is a fungus that will climb into a creature's brain and take over its body. And mainly it focuses on ants, but mammals are not immune. Humans are not immune. Did you know that in France, they have the highest rate of car accidents of pretty much any comparable European country? Why is this? Nobody's quite sure, but one theory proposed is that because French cuisine does not focus on cooking the snot out of the meat. In American culture, it's drilled into us from birth, cook the meat hot to kill everything. In French cuisine, you leave the meat a little raw, and this allows some parasites to get through. There is a common parasite called toxoplasmosis that's mainly found in cats, and if it gets in a human's brain, it can actually alter their behavior. The toxoplasmosis does not want to be in a human. It wants to be in a cat and a rat. That's its reproductive cycle. It infects the rat. The rat gets more aggressive, and less likely to hide. Therefore, a cat is more likely to kill and eat a rat that has toxoplasmosis in its brain. And then the cat its behavior changes slightly, but it poops out the toxoplasmosis, and then generally a rat will come across it and get reinfected, and thus continuing the parasite's life cycle. But if a human cleans a cat's litter box and then handles meat and then eats the meat without cooking it thoroughly, then the human becomes infected with toxoplasmosis, and the toxoplasmosis goes to the brain and tries to affect the behavior like it does in rats and cats. But in humans, it manifests as, oddly enough, hyperaggression in males and hypoaggression in human females, which is really weird, but not nearly as creepy as the cordyceps. And we should all be very thankful that cordyceps has not yet managed to jump animal groups from insects to humans, because what happens with the cordyceps insects is that it infests ants in the Brazilian rainforest. Now, these ants live down below in burrows and almost never come up to the surface, just like we saw in chapter 42 of kaiju number 8. Then, when the cordyceps fungus spore lands on the ant, it infects the ant's body and starts to take over their muscles. How does it do this? Well, a researcher by the name of Fredrickson actually did some research on this, and they took 1,000 microscopic photographs. They sliced an ant muscle into 1,000 super thin slices and did an electron microscope picture of it. Then they stacked all these pictures on top of each other to create this wonderful 3D image of what the cordyceps fungus looks like when it's wrapping around the ant's muscles to control it. And not only that, it gets into the ant's brain. Now look at this picture. Look at this 3D image. It looks familiar, doesn't it? It looks very much like the way that we saw the muscle fibers growing out of the revived kaiju that kaiju number 9 was working on. And then look at those images of the tendrils and tentacles coming up out of the ant kaiju's body. Now, they've got so much of this science right. The ant kaiju live down below ground and don't come up until their behavior is changed by a cordyceps fungus kaiju that crawls into their body and takes over their muscles with these bacteria chain-looking fibers, and then it goes for the ant's brain. And once the ant's brain is affected, the fruiting body bursts up out of the ant's head and starts spreading its spores around or sowing its seeds, and that's exactly what we see in this. And this is spectacular. And there's a few tiny things. I wouldn't call them mistakes. They are artistic choices by the artist to make sure that we, the audience, who may not have a bachelor's degree in wildlife ecology with a focus on the ecological impacts of insects and fungus, like I may have through my experience. If you don't have that, you still need to know that kaiju number 9 is a fungus type kaiju. By giving him that super flat topped head, that's not really a cordyceps fungus look. That is the look of the common white fungus that pops up in the grass in an overwatered lawn, and it will pop up with many different bodies. That was the very first thing that gave me a clue to the fact that kaiju number 9 has more than one body. When you're picking those mushrooms out of a lawn, all you're really doing is removing, like picking the pine cones out of a tree. The tree is still there. It's all but the fungal tree is all of these tiny microfiber threads going through the ground. So I think kaiju number 9's real body, his real core, is a series of networked micro threads threaded underneath Tokyo. And that's how he managed to alter the big fungal kaiju from Kafka's first battle. When the fungal kaiju passed through his network, he was able to alter its reproductive by adding reproductive organs. And so that is, however, not a cordyceps thing. That is they're called button mushrooms. They just grow anywhere where it's damp, not cordyceps. And then the various different kind of tendrils that popped up belonged probably to multiple different species of cordyceps, and probably wouldn't all be in the same species. But again, these are just minor little details. I wouldn't even call it wrong from a scientific perspective. The artist is presenting things in a way that it probably would not occur in nature, so that the people they're trying to communicate the idea to understand. And we scientists do this all the time. Any drawn diagram you've ever seen, we draw them because we can't just take a photo. We can't take a photo because they never occur like that in nature. It's like that poster on the wall in grade school that we all remember that has all the different kinds of landforms. That's not a map. There's no place on Earth where every single landform is close together and handy like that. But it is a good way to help us understand the science that we're looking at. And so the artist drew kaiju number 9 with that white mushroom-like flesh and the flat-topped head like the button mushrooms that sprout in your yard, and exposed several different kinds of tendrils from several different kinds of cordyceps. And who knows, maybe there's an in-universe explanation. Maybe kaiju number 9 stole these features from a wide variety of funguses. Who knows? Just because he has a fungal spirit or something. But anyway, just look at the science. Look at those spore growths behind him on the ant's head. Look at the way the muscles, the cordyceps like strands surround the ant's muscles and the muscles of those initial kaiju with the teeth and the sensitive hearing. This is just chef's kiss. Such good science, such good art, such good communication. And I cannot wait to see where this story goes. Again, this author has shown, this creator Matsumoto, they've shown such a fantastic grasp of so many different branches of science. Matsumoto is clearly either a Renaissance man or smart enough to surround himself with people who know stuff. So that's just my take on the fantastic science behind the cordyceps kaiju number 9. And now check out the links below the video to get a copy of my book, Humans Are Weird. I have the data, a book of human absurdity. I too have a fungal-like organism, much like kaiju number 9, but instead of being ambivalent or aggressive towards humanity, they are very, very friendly, always seeking to interact, and willing to help out in general, as they're just a friendly alien species. So check out the links below the video. In the beginning of October 2020, I will be starting an Indiegogo campaign. It should be open for pre-orders fairly soon. So if you're interested in Humans Are Weird, we took a vote, the second book in my Humans Are Weird series, which do have a few more stories about the duff aliens, or the leaf pile aliens I call them. They're really the not cordyceps, a much more benign form of fungal life form. So if you're interested in that, check out the links below the video, and peace out, my wonderful viewers.
From author Betty Adams, Humans Are Weird, I Have the Data is a humorous look at human behavior through the eyes of aliens. This book is arranged in separate reports or essays, documenting the experiences with humanity through the lens of the aliens who have to interact with them. This anthology of short stories and vignettes from alien points of view highlight some of humanity's quirks we can all relate to. Author Betty Adams captures how strange and interesting humans can really be. This is a fun collection of stories you will really get a kick out of. Humans Are Weird. I Have the Data from author Betty Adams. Order your copy right now on Amazon.